Hello folks, and as announced in the last video, today I'm presenting the alternative build of the 75337, the ATTE. Since I showed you in my last video an alternative build of the brand new Coruscant Guard gunship that turns it into a dropship, I would now like to do the same for the ATTE, which finally converts it into an ATOT. The last ATOT which we've gotten in Lego form was in 2009, together with the Republic dropship, exactly 14 years ago. Unfortunately, this set has become almost unaffordable, which is why the mock is particularly beneficial to us. The mock comes from the designer BrickSet ideas and uses only parts of the ATTE. To be exact, 729 of the 1082. Don't worry, the spider droid still remains completely intact. The instructions are provided by the designer completely free. Now what is this ATOT I'm talking about? Well, this is an 8-legged vehicle designed for troop transportation. Unlike the conventional ATTE, which acts as a normal tank and is armored all around, the ATOT is completely open and unprotected from above. The first use of the ATOT took place in the Wars for Fallujah, where we see it for the first time in episode 3 of the Star Wars series. Now let's start with the building sequence of the ATOT. The construction begins as usual with the scaffolding. Here a series of technical parts are attached to each other and then covered with plates for the purpose of stabilization, below which some blocks are then also attached to strengthen the underside. In the next step we place some detail elements such as these 10 seats and then add a ramp at the back. If we turn the whole framework around, 2 plasters that are inserted into the technical openings at the front provide the artillery of the tank, followed by the vehicle's handle, which we place in the center of the scaffolding structure. Now we come to the cockpit of the 8-legged vehicle. Here first a plate is decorated, which is then attached to the rest of the body. For this we quickly build 2 identical parts of the outer cladding, as well as the roof, which we then attach to the plate from the previous step after completion. The cockpit is finished and looks really good already. We continue with the legs. The tank designed for troop transport has a total of 8 of them. I want to spare you the somewhat monotonous construction shots and fast forward a little. Of course, the tank also has to become protected. The armor is now built first for the right side for the rear area, and I have to say in advance that the designer was particularly creative in the use of parts here. And then for the front part, the same applies to the left side. When we're done with that, the tank is as good as finished. Now we just need to add a few details, such as 2 plasters that we attach to the rear of the fairing, a small box that fits on the back, the 9 parts for the seats and 2 of these round cannons. Now let's take a look at the tank in detail. Before we start, I have to mention that I made a few small modifications that deviate from the designer's instructions, such as the carrying handle, as it would otherwise be too unstable when connected to the dropship and kept falling off during testing, or the legs, as I thought that these visually enhance the ATOT, but more on that later. First of all, I want to start with the cockpit, which I like the most in terms of design. It has that certain Lego look and the proportions are just right. You can easily open the hatch above to put your pilots in. To be precise, 2 clones fit in the cockpit. Next to the cockpit we find a cannon on each side. These have been integrated directly into the structure. Let's now continue with the outer fairing. This has also been built at a nice angle again and represents the essence of the AT-OT very well. On the rear side the fairing is also excellent if you pay attention to the specification of the limited parts. Even a plaster was integrated on each side and a telescope as well as a screwdriver. Now let's take a look at the interior. Since the AT-OT is a troop transport, a total of 18 chairs have been provided here, which sounds very appropriate in my opinion. In the cockpit area at the front we find the first 9 chairs, including a normal chair that could be used for the clone captain. In front of the handle a small steering wheel has also been integrated, which has also been offset with a chair for possible control for a clone. Then we move to the rear side, where we find the last 9 chairs. These have now been built from such round parts and are all uniform. I don't have enough Phase 2 clones, so I mix in a few Phase 1 clones for the moment. Then we have the ramp. Everything has really been thought of here. It is surrounded by these 2 round turrets that we already know from the ATTE and can be folded in and out wonderfully. The legs are all very similar in design and a little simple build, because the designer did not have too many parts available, because the original set had only 6 instead of 8 legs. I've already mentioned that I had made a few modifications to the legs. For example, I still had some of these curved parts from my own collection and thus equipped all legs with 4 pieces, as it was otherwise only partially equipped with 3. Their function is unchanged, which means they can still be moved. The last thing that remains is the handle, which is located in the middle of the scaffolding. As already mentioned, I have modified this a little as it used to break off when I connected it to the dropship. Of course, I also want to show you the connection with the dropship with the new handle. The only thing that's a bit annoying is that the AT-OT is a little bit too long and therefore doesn't fit completely under the body of the dropship, but it looks damn cool when it's floating. Now I want to show you a size comparison between the AT-OT and the Republic fighter tank, just so you can get an idea of how big the AT-OT really is. That's it for now with the introduction. It's extremely cool that you can convert both new sets, the gunship and the ATTE, into these 2 classics. Both mock designers have, in my opinion, created the best possible models with the selection of parts they had. And they look suspiciously close to real LEGO sets. I'm curious to see what you think. As always, I would like to thank BrickSet Ideas for creating such a masterpiece, and of course you for tuning in again and all the support. If you had fun, leave a like and also a subscription. You can look forward to the next video. I'm curious if you can guess what it is. Feel free to write it in the comments. That's it for today on Bricklas. Love you guys. Bye.